everyone, welcome to Kelly's Creative Dream Studios. As I'm recording this, it is an absolutely gorgeous evening in the Ozarks. We have very low humidity. Our temperature's down to about 64 degrees. Man, it's going to be a great night for sleeping. So, before I can head that direction, I need to get this video for MemoryDex Monday done, and I've had an idea running through my head. So I wanted to make sure I had everything I needed, and I'm not sure I'm going to get all the way through this video or this project before I have to stop. So if at some point I have to stop where I'm at, I will show you the finished product on Junk Journal Friday, okay? So let's start with, I was challenged by Brian at B&D Crafts More to use yellow and green on my MemoryDex, and I knew when I heard those colors what I wanted to do. I was about 15 when my dad died, and my stepmom, and I use that term very loosely, she was my mom in all intents and purposes, had always wanted a green and yellow kitchen. So after Dad died, my sister and a couple of other well-meaning people at the time got together, and we painted Mom her green and yellow kitchen. She wanted yellow walls and green cabinets, and she wanted frilly curtains with, we found some with daisies on them. So I'm starting with my 4-inch MemoryDex base in a bright yellow for the walls. And then I'm going to take a couple of scraps of this Granny Apple Green. I think this size will be big enough. And I think also I may need, put that Granny Apple Green back, I think I'm also going to need a piece of blue. A very light sky blue, and I'll show you why in just a minute. Let's go with, I'm looking at my colors back here. I think for this one, I'm going to go ahead and use a scrap of balmy blue. It's a nice sky blue. And I'm going to take, I need another piece of the green. I put the green away too soon. And this is where your scraps come in handy, because you can pull out your scraps and use those. Now I have the die. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create the wall with some cabinets and a window in the center. So I'm going to set this back here. Don't let me forget where I set that, over here. And I've got this die. I have this die that I got from Madi at Spectrum Art Creations. And it's a window with shutters. I bought it because I wanted to do the window boxes and you could change the seasons. But for today, if I can find where it opens, there we go. I want just the window. So we're going to cut just this part out. Now, the thing with these is when you get the pieces like this, you just have to kind of bend them back and forth real gently, and they'll pop apart just like that. You just want to do it gently. So, and if you bend your die, you're going to flatten it back out on your die cutting system anyway. So I'm going to cut, I'm not going to need the shutters, but you know, it is what it is. So I'm going to cut off a piece of this, just like this. And then I can put this away out of my way again. And I need to get my trimmer out of the way. I have my small die cutter from Stampin' Up. This is their mini. And I'm just going to lay that right down on that green. Put my die cutting plate back and put my sandwich together. Now I have had this in my head for several weeks. So today is just a matter of putting it together, and it usually works for me. Now here's the thing. I don't need that. Goes in the garbage. I don't need to keep the little window pieces, because what I want to do, so I'm going to come back with my scissors and I'm going to cut the shutters off right like that. Almost cut that too thin. And yeah, I could keep those shutters and use them for another project, but how often are you going to use green shutters, you know? Get these out of the way. Get these frilly little pieces out of the way. And I should have brought my fidgety scissors with me. Let's see. Of course, I don't see my littler ones with me, and they may be over there on the other table. I'm going to try pumping these out without destroying my framelit here. So now I have green trim. And you know, this was back in 1978. I may have the colors reversed. We may have had green walls and yellow cabinets. But I'm going with yellow walls and green cabinets. Now I know I'm going to want that so that I have the green windows behind me. So I'm just going to cut this apart, just like this, so that I have blue sky out the windows. And I am going to come back and trim that window off, just like that. And then, because I have this really fine line there, I'm going to use my Cosmic Shimmer glue because, well, actually, I could use this from Stampin' Up. This one will work. It's the first one I grabbed. And I'm going to try not to get my head in your way as I run glue on the back side of this window, on all the crossbars, and try to do it without my trimmers sending glue everywhere. I've noticed my trimmers have been picking up more and more on my right hand. I was fine when it was just my left. I could deal with that, but I'm right-handed, and so I'm not so happy with that anymore. But we're going to line that up best we can. Now I have a dried baby wipe here and my water bottle, and I'm going to press that down, and that will keep that from sticking to me. Okay, we have a window. Let's put our pin back in our bottle. And I think I'm done with the paper trimmer, so let's get it out of the way. Well, I won't be. Okay, our yellow base. I know I'm going to want that window in the center. And let's put some narrow cabinets down either side of that window. And let's make them an inch by, let's make the cabinets an inch by 2.5. Okay. I guess I do need that trimmer yet, just for a minute. And remember, our cabinets are green. Okay, this is almost 3 inches. Let's take this down to, let's take it to 2 3/4. And they need to be an inch, and this is 2 inches wide. Let's see if we can do, so it's 2.5, so that'd be 1.5, 1 1/4. Let's send that in half. Okay. Now let's get the trimmer out of our way, and we may need to trim these down, and I'm okay with that. Oh yeah, those are going to have to come way down, but you'll see why in a minute. Yeah, we need to take those down to an inch. So let's take these down to an inch. You can always cut more off, but you can't put it back. And let's take these down to 2 1/4. Whoops. I'm trying to make sure I hit a trash can over here, because trying to get my vacuum cleaner over here to vacuum around my filming table is a little interesting. So I'm trying. Okay, and this window's going to come into effect here in a minute. You're going to see how this works. Let's say these are high cabinets, and I don't like that piece sticking off there. There we go. Okay, and you'll see why we're doing this here in just a minute. Boy, is that off. Okay. If you try and line it up against something, you see how uneven you are. Okay. So far, so good. Now, before I go any further, I want to take and come back, and I want to put my holes in the bottom of my card here. And now this punch has guides here. You don't have to flip it over to see where you're going. You just have to stick to your guides on the outside. And it even traps them on the inside till you dump them out. That's kind of cool. Okay, so let's put our window on here, and I have my Tombow that I like to use. Not doing bad for only 9 minutes, I'll tell you. Now the reason I said that I'm probably not going to get this all done is because I'm going to be working with fabric here in a minute, and I'm going to be gluing sequins in place. And I want you to be able to see what those sequins are going to look like and how many of them I'm going to have to glue in place. And I'm not going to be able to get them all glued in and online or on camera. But I wanted you to see the process prior to that. Okay, there's that. Now, toothpick. I know I had a toothpick here. I need 2 toothpicks. Just like that. I keep a little bead tube of toothpicks handy. I also have some teeny tiny beads. And I need to shrink this down. Let me get my bead trimmers. Okay, now, this window is only 1.25 inches wide, so I need to cut these sticks about 1.5 inches. So I'm going to start by clipping that pointy tip up, okay? That shoots everywhere. Good thing I'm not walking around on my floor here. And I need to cut that off. And I need to do it just a little bit wider than that 1.5 inches. Yeah, and now I can use this one to measure. Man, how many times have I said I just absolutely love my new filming table area? Having everything the way it needs to be is such a blessing. And it really helps the creativity, and it really keeps me from, dragging around here. Now I have these silver beads. This is not going to glue onto here very well. So I have these silver beads, and I need to find one that I think this will fit into. If I can find the hole on the bead. Nope, that bead's too small. That one's too small. Let's try this one maybe. And they probably would have fit if I could have left the points on. I'd have been fine. Okay, let me try something here. See if I can snip this off to a point. And if that will go in there better. I think with some glue I'll be fine. I'm just kind of, you see where I'm just kind of barely snipping that toothpick off so I can get a point on it. We're going to do the same thing to this one. Okay. Oops. Now that we have a place that we can stick that bead onto. Okay. And I'm going to need 4 of those beads. That one was too small. Where did he go? He went over here. I'm going to need 4 of those beads because this is how I'm going to mount the curtain onto here. So let's put my tweezers are here somewhere. I'm trying to remember where I stuck everything is part of my problem. But I don't know how well I'm going to be able to do that, but we're going to try. I put that on the tip, put it over the hole. Yeah. Where'd my wet towel go? There it is. And all this is going to do is it's going to be a stopper for the curtain, And it's going to give me a place to put a dimensional behind it so that I can, and I'm just putting a little bit of the Tombow right where the hole's at. And those are going to have to dry. So let's do this other one. Just like this. And you know, it doesn't matter what I do. I always wind up with glued fingers. But that's why I have multiple bottles of hand sanitizer. I picked them up at Walmart for $1 a piece. And so I bought $1 worth to keep here in the room, because you can use the hand sanitizer for the glue on your fingers and for cleaning off your glass mat. I keep forgetting I have an open bottle over here on the glue table. But I get this hand sanitizer, Art Naturals, scent free, from Walmart. It was on an end cap back by the towels, wash rags, that kind of thing. And it lets you take the glue off your fingers. Okay, so we have that done. Now, I can get the trimmer out of the way, and I can get the papers out of my way. Blue. And by the way, the yellow I chose was Pineapple Punch. It was one of our in colors from 2019 to 2021. Nice bright blue, or bright yellow. Okay, so this is going to go. We had cafe curtains on the windows. So this one will glue up high. And this one will glue about halfway down, just like that. So I'm going to lay these off to the side. Try not to lose those pieces. And one of the things I had to hold off on doing was I needed this piece of sheer curtain. This was important because it was a sheer curtain on the window. Now I'm going to try leaving the stitched edge on there, I think. And I'm just going to whop it off here. I'm not going to be overly protective. And of course I cut it right where there was a label of some type. Of course I did. Well, we can cut this off, the seam piece off, and get rid of the, drop it in my jar of trims that I can't find, and it's a big jar. There it is. And I want to take this right here because it's already stitched, and I am not stitching anything on this project. But I can go, see where this has had a label in it? I'm going to cut just to the side of that label piece and get rid of it. We won't need it, I don't think. And then I'm going to try and straighten this up just like that. That one I can get rid of. That one I can get rid of. Okay, now we want this to gather a little bit, but we're not going to have a lot of room for a big gathering. So I'm going to cut that one off, smooth it up. And I think if I go right there, be just enough. And see, that's going to cover that whole window. That's going to cover that whole window. We don't need that much. So I'm going to cut this piece in half. And you're going to see how cool this works here in a minute. Ooh, that breeze come through and rattled my... Okay, so here's the other thing. And I thought about just using this ribbon, but I want to have... before I can put this on there and squish it together, I have to do one more thing. These are loose daisy embellishments from Stampin' Up. Mom's curtains were these white sheer with daisies. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to go through And I'm going to pick out all the yellow daisies that I need. And I'm going to be gluing them to this fabric. Okay? Then I can come back in, open that space up, and treat it like a gusset on here. If I can do it without my fingers, drive me insane here. And there's my timer telling me 20 minutes has gone by. So I'm going to work with the curtain. And I think I'm going to be using my craft glue for this. I'm going to be using my craft glue for this. And another toothpick. Because it's going to be the easiest way to put the craft glue in place. And I'm going to snip it off the end so that I have a flat point to dip into my glue. And I'm just dipping in. And I'm going to put some dots of glue on here. And then these are going to have to dry for a couple of days so that I make sure that they don't come off. And that's why I said that this was not going to get finished tonight. It was not even an option. And what did I do with my tweezers? I just had them. There they are. And we're going to go through. You know what? That's not going to work. Where is my sticky thing from We Are Memory Keepers? Nope, that one's not going to pick them up either. So I guess we're using the one from Stampin' It. And it has this little gluey stuff on the end that picks up your embellishments and puts them down just like that. And I want to make sure that I get only yellow ones on here. But I'm going to leave these to dry for a couple of days before I finish putting this together. So there will be the top of the cafe curtain, and then this is going to be the bottom. And let me see if I can do this without getting glue on everything. This will be the top of the cafe curtain up here, and this will be the bottom. And I want it to ruffle a little bit, so we'll see how that does. And then we will put doorknobs on the cabinets so that they look like cabinet doors and not shutters. And I'll do a little bit more addition around here, maybe find a clock. Ooh, no, I think Dress My Craft clocks are going to be too big. Might have one small enough in my Alice stuff. I'll have to look. Maybe we can put a wall clock up here. And this is going to be my MemoryDex card for Brian's B&D Crafts More challenge to me to use yellow and green. I'll have it finished for you and show it to you on Friday. Tomorrow starts our first day in our tag series, Tag Tuesdays. You're going to want to come back and see what I'm doing for tags. Remember that if you are not a member of the Spectrum Art Creations Facebook group, you really need to come join us, because that is what has inspired my MemoryDex series and what has inspired my tag series. So every Tuesday for the rest of the year, I'm going to be creating tags, I'm going to be creating tags lots of times, but I'm going to be focusing on showing you my tags that I have in progress on Tuesdays and inspire you to come join our tag challenge on Spectrum Art Creations. The more tags you enter, the more chances you get into the drawing for a $5 gift card to the Spectrum Art Creations online store. Plus, we have so much fun, and you will be so inspired to join us in that group. So I hope you'll come join us. But in the meantime, make sure you come back here tomorrow for our first episode in Tag Tuesday. Remember to like, to share, subscribe, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. Creative blessings.